is Backfire.
Hey, good morning, Cleveland. Good to hear from you this morning, as I would say in radio. Hey, we're down here at the Village Green Town Center. Got our show Backfire going on, and I want to tell you right now, Fat Tuesday is over with, so get up and get out. You got to go to work. Let's catch the phone real quick. Good morning, Whoopster.
Good morning, Noble.
Hello, Alabella. I just knew that was you.
You just knew that was me. Hey, I'm going to get me a new phone, and it's going to have FM radio, and I'm going to be listening to Whoop all the time.
That's good. You got phones everywhere. You're carrying 2 or 3 at a time now.
I know.
All right, Alabella. I'm glad to show. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Bye-bye. Ella, the mother Whoop, calls in. Backfire, John Stansberry and Franklin Chansey. Good morning, both of you.
Good morning.
Hey, Steve. How are you?
All right. Franklin's coming in here. He's one-armed this morning. He's got his arm in a sling.
Yeah, I've got a pain in my right wing, just like the country.
Yeah,
I'm sure it'll heal.
Well, anyway, he's been out playing and hurt himself in the snow, I think, somewhere. But anyway, he's going to have to leave us a little early this morning, so John gets to answer both sides of the question, the Democratic and the Republican side, once he leaves.
So I'll be the good guy and the devil's advocate.
That's right. Anyway, Fat Tuesday's over with, like I said, and today starts Lent. So first of all, what are you going to give up for Lent, anybody?
Well, you know, us Methodists are real strict on that. I hadn't thought about it. I'm probably going to go to Ash Wednesday service at Broad Street United Methodist, and I'll have to, when I kneel down at the altar, I'll have to come up with something.
Mm-hmm.
Wait for inspiration to strike.
A lot of the women give up chocolate.
Well, you know, you hear people say, well, I gave up such and such. They'll go, well, I gave up broccoli or asparagus. You're supposed to give up something you actually want that's actually difficult to do without.
That's right. Anyway, today's Lent, everybody make their decision, give up something. Sometimes it's just give up eating or something, you know, weight loss and things like that. Thought I'd bring that to your attention. Well, let's get started with Backfire. You know, we've had a interesting couple of weeks going on in the campaign, and there's a lot of stuff going on. We're going to get more into the campaign, some of the issues, but my first question this morning is to both of you, and I'll let either one of you answer this first. How concerned are you about the rising gasoline prices that's going on? Will that stall our economic recovery, if we even had one? And, you know, the average price of gasoline recently passed the $3.50 mark, 38% higher than last year, than a year ago. And they're talking about it going to 4.25 plus by the end of April. Now then, what can happen from that?
Well, all the analysis that I've seen so far indicates that almost the entirety of the gas price rise is attributable to what's going on in the Middle East right now. Our production here has hit an all-time high. I think I saw a statistic just this weekend that we had built 4 times as many drilling rigs in American fields than at any point in our history right now. Our production's at an all-time high. The instability in the Middle East, the pressure that the country is trying to put on Iran right now is contributing to the rise in oil prices. And unfortunately, it's something that does affect us in our pocketbook, but I'm not sure it's something that's avoidable.
Well, I mean, you know, the problem is the gas prices were below $2 when President Obama took office, and there's a real good chance by the end of the year they'll be $5. The fact of the matter is he's locked down and actually said there will be no new drilling in the Pacific. There will be no drilling in Anwar in Alaska, and it'll be 2017 before he allows any new drilling in the Gulf. Now, he does, from a political standpoint, come out and go, oh, I've opened up more leases. And that's pure politics, because he's opened up leases where there's no oil. Nobody wants to drill in those leases because it's not in the right place. The fact of the matter is the XL pipeline that would have brought gas down to our refineries in the Gulf, he's closed down in order to buy the votes of the radical environmentalists that support him. They've also killed the oil shale operation that environmentalists have in the Dakotas. The oil reserve in the Dakotas, an oil shale, is 3 times the Saudi Arabian reserve, and we're not touching it. the Canadian Prime Minister, the week after Obama shut the pipeline down, went to China to negotiate a deal to sell that oil to China. So the fact of the matter is, we don't even buy any oil from Iran. Now, it is contributing to the instability, but we actually don't buy any oil from them. At the same time, this president loaned money to Petrobras, the seventh most profitable oil company in the world, to drill for oil off the coast of Brazil that they had a contract to sell to the Chinese. So there's a lot we could be doing. We just can't do it with this president.
The problem with what John's just said is that it's mostly false. The facts are that we are producing more domestic oil than at any point in American history.
Who we selling it to?
We sell it all over the world, and that's one of the strange things about the market. That's a good question. But the government doesn't control who we sell, our private companies sell their oil to. Those are decisions they're making on the open market. And all the free marketers like John, who think that's the way it ought to be, have to live with the negative side of that system as well. There is no question that we produce more oil in the United States than at any point in our history, and dramatically more than was being produced before President Obama became president. They like to talk about the Keystone Pipeline, but everybody knows that wouldn't have produced any oil here before 2017.
Now,
it has no effect on the prices.
But it would have employed 20,000 Americans that need work, and that's just the direct 20,000 building the pipeline. That doesn't speak to the probably tens of thousands more that would have been employed in ancillary services.
It's my understanding that the drilling that we're doing now is from the Bush administration.
It is.
This president has allowed these additional leases to go into effect. There are 4 times more oil rigs that have gone into effect in operation under this administration than had been previously under the last one.
Could we do more?
Could we? Possibly.
Well, you can't do more if you hate the oil industry and if you want us to live in mud huts and drive electric cars that will only take you 25 miles without stopping for 3 hours to recharge it.
John's view is that we should completely ignore things like what happened in the Gulf and not make any effort at all to try and make sure those things don't happen again. Those cost us a lot of money. And to act like that was free and to suggest that it's not appropriate for us to look at those environmental issues when we're making those decisions strikes me as just incredibly reckless.
You brought that up, and you're talking about the BP oil spill down in Florida. Last night I heard on the news where Obama was going to be going down to, Mr. Obama was going to be going down into Florida to basically campaign a little bit here pretty soon. Anyway, interestingly, I was talking to a few of my friends that have condos down in that area, and they were laughing about the fact that the BP oil guys, they've got golf carts now, and they run 4 to a group, and they get out there on the beach, and now there's nothing for them to do. They've been showing up, basically spending money. They're getting paid for this, and I told them not to worry about it. I didn't think that would stop until after the presidential election. Well, they're going to go down there and talk about this BP deal.
Well, the interesting thing about the Gulf is the people in the Gulf. Now, these are the people that are directly affected by the oil spill. Overwhelmingly opposed Obama shutting down all of the permits to drill in the Gulf. They overwhelmingly opposed it. These are the residents that live there. The residents in Alaska overwhelmingly support opening the Anwar oil field to drilling up there. So the people that would be directly, you would think, the people most concerned, they want more oil drilling. And the thing that people lose sight of is Obama says, well, I just put this moratorium on the Gulf. Once a company shuts down a rig, it's gone for at least 5 years. And once they move that rig somewhere else, it's probably gone permanently.
Except that moratorium is no longer in place.
But he didn't open up any new drilling.
It was a temporary moratorium that allowed us an opportunity to study what went wrong and to try and make sure it didn't happen again.
Well, it's amazing that we didn't study what went wrong in the response to it, because there were tons of things. You know, President Bush just got savaged over the response to the hurricane down there, when in fact he actually authorized use of the Guard 2 days before the hurricane. And the fact of the matter is Mississippi took advantage of that. Louisiana, with a Democratic governor, didn't ask for the Guard, but he got savaged over that. There were tons of problems with the response from the Coast Guard. They actually sank the rig by pumping water on an oil fire. So, was there a problem at the oil well in the base of the ocean? Sure. Was our response good to it? It was horrible. So if you want to look at what we should learn what we did wrong as a government response.
Sounds to me like we should learn what we did wrong all the way across the board. And the way you do that is to take a deep breath, study the problem for a minute, and try to make sure you don't repeat those mistakes.
Unless, of course, it destroys your entire economy and puts millions of people out of work.
But it obviously didn't, and the suggestion that the Gulf situation destroyed our economy as opposed to the ridiculous policies of the Bush administration.
Well, let me see if I got this straight. President Obama can still be blaming his predecessor 3.5 years into the job?
No, what I'm saying to you is the economy collapsed. The financial collapse that occurred happened while President Bush was the president.
You're absolutely right.
You can't say that President Obama did that. The point I'm making is the economy didn't collapse because of the BP disaster. It collapsed because of those problems in the financial industry.
But the president, I'll give him this. He didn't create the economic disaster, but he has certainly made it worse. Not only has he not made it better, he's made it worse.
Well, it's clear, based upon what happened in the stock market yesterday, that there's been nothing but massive growth and profit in that industry since the president came into office. The stock market makes money off wherever there's money to be made. If someone's losing, someone else is winning. So the fact that a bunch of traders in the market made money off predicting the bad decisions that this administration would put into place doesn't say anything about what he's doing to manage the economy. The fact is that American corporations made more in profits in the first 3 years of the the Obama administration than the entirety of the 8 years of the previous one. Those are facts.
Well, you make money. Like if one company goes under, another company buys it. So saying that the stock market made money doesn't speak. What speaks to the economy are the millions of people that are out of work because of this president's policies.
And fortunately, those policies have begun to produce millions of new jobs as each report comes out month after month after month.
Actually, if you massage the reports they do, for example, Detroit actually, the big three up there that were bailed out actually employ 16,900 fewer employees than they did before Obama bailed them out. So when he goes on the road, which he does, and he says the auto industry's back and they've hired hundreds of thousands of new people, those hundreds of thousands are occurring in right-to-work states by foreign companies, not by the companies we bailed out.
It's 1 million more jobs than would have been there if the president hadn't bailed them out.
They're not in companies he bailed out. The companies he bailed out are actually employing 16,900 fewer employees than they were before 2009.
But if you hadn't bailed them out, 1 million more jobs would have been lost.
Actually, he closed 25% of the dealers in a short 4 months, which his own advisor said was reckless and had no idea how many tens of thousands of people were forced out of their jobs by the president himself, on top of the fact that he single-handedly violated the law, canceled contracts, and cleared out every bondholder's investment in those businesses simply to turn around and give that money to the union bosses that he owed.
And in the process, single-handedly saved the American automobile industry. We would have none today.
What did he do for Ford? Ford Motor Company took nothing and they're back.
Ford Motor Company also benefits from all those suppliers that are in business because they're able to continue doing business with GM and Chrysler.
Now, Chrysler...
But for the existence of those companies, the continued viability of those operations, millions of other jobs which support the automobile industry would have been gone.
That's just not true. What all a bankruptcy is a reorganization. Other companies would have bought those companies. They would have employed people. And the fact of the matter is, Chrysler, for example, is now 53% owned by Fiat. And in the next couple of years, they plan on owning 70% of it. So congratulations, folks. Your taxpayer dollars went to bail out a company that is now foreign-owned.
Should we be giving bonuses at General Motors right now?
Ask the government. They're in charge.
General Motors is paying back those loans. But
actually they're not. They're borrowing money from us to pay us back.
But they're giving away $7,000 bonuses or something to employees right now. Is that something that should be done before everything is paid back to us?
Well, I think the theory is that for the first time in the U.S. automobile industry, compensation for executives and workers is being tied to performance. When there are profits,